Hey Matt, how are you?
I am great. We had our best month ever by a long shot at Encore. Hundreds of families now got their a fresh set of estate plans in place just in the last month. And so new record-setting territory. I'm excited about that.
Setting records and protecting legacies. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great month. We're ready for May. See what happens. See if we can break the record again, back-to-back months. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome.
And we're launching subscription. We announced that today. That's a big, exciting
Yep.
piece of news as well. So if you are listening into the podcast and have not checked out subscription yet, please do so. I included it in the newsletter. And we also have a few knowledge base articles on it. So very
Yep.
exciting stuff happening at Encore.
That's been a lot of work. It always is in building software. It feels like the last 10% is 90%. And
Mm.
that's a little bit of our project there with the visual estate plan summary and the product, but it's really cool. And there's some great features and great enhancements for our advisors. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to get that out the door to them.
There's levels to this. There's levels to this, and we are leveling up. Well,
Yep.
speaking of leveling up, let's talk about this podcast's interview. I'm excited to interview our guest today. He's a great guy. We've talked to him a couple of times, not on the podcast, but individually. We get to talk to Joel Top. Joel's first job was actually as a physics teacher. So his clients really appreciate that he has a heart of a teacher. After beginning his career as a financial advisor in 2005, he's been afforded the chance to do many things he enjoys: teaching, serving others, studying investments, and making a difference in others' lives. These privileges, in addition to working alongside a great team and serving great clients, makes his days at work hardly seem like work. Joel, we are so happy to have you. Welcome to the Advisor's Guide to Estate Planning podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I warned you ahead of time. We like to do a little icebreaker. Are you down for it today?
Sure. Throw it at me.
Let's go. You said you were a physics teacher. So let's
Yes.
put your memory to the test.
Ooh,
Can you
scary.
can you tell us the difference between centripetal acceleration and centrifugal force?
Yes. Okay, this is when I taught, I talked about centrip is tripping or falling in. So it's this the centripetal force is the pulling in, and the centrifugal. Oh,
Centrifugal, maybe?
Centripetal, or was it?
I saw
Centripetal and
centripetal.
centrifugal are the
Oh,
two. But anyways,
you're already schooling us. Yeah.
no, that's okay. But gosh, yeah, the physics stuff. I was listening to, oh yeah, I watched Oppenheimer the other day,
Oh, okay.
and referencing some physicists and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, remember those names, but not really remembering the details.
It's been a
Then
couple
wow.
decades, so yeah, so there it's probably not the top of mind thing, but
Yes.
but what a cool place to start your career as a teacher and
Yeah.
continue it as a teacher, as an advisor.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, we'd love to hear a little bit about from an estate planning conversation. You've been working with the team at Encore for many years and done a lot, I think 50 plus estate plans with your clients here. And
Mhm.
so tell us a little bit about your background. I know you came out of a firm, 5 years ago or so, that never would have
Mhm.
allowed you to even step into this gap for your clients. We'd love to hear about your kind of practice, what you set up, and how you think about the industry in light of estate planning as one of the capabilities that you've prioritized for your clients.
Yeah, I yeah, came from a big firm, very restricted on what I could do. Um, Great people there, and I stuck around longer than I should have because the people were so great. Um, but knew that I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do for clients, and we were talking before we hit the record button, just a little bit about bringing family office concept to the mass affluent. And I really like this idea. You know, we talk about at PlanWiser living the low stress financial life, and that's what we're trying to relieve that burden from our clients. All this stuff is so complicated, and the connections between them are so complicated, and it's very frustrating for clients to have these silos, you know, that they're constantly dealing with. Like, oh, we'll talk to your financial planner, and then we refer you to an estate planning person, then we refer you to an accountant, and
Yeah.
we're not communicating great. And the ball gets dropped, and they're caught in the middle. And sometimes we give conflicting advice. And what is the client supposed to do? And it's just a really poor experience. And so, yeah, we're trying. You know, I bought an accounting firm about 9 months ago, doing Encore estate and doing financial planning, trying to bring all those pieces together. And it's a lot of fun. And it's very rewarding because clients love that we're taking that burden off them. So
how are you managing all of that? Are you using softwares to keep yourself organized, or is it the team?
I've got a great team, and they're a huge help. Wouldn't be able to do it without the team I have. Jessica's been with me. I'm going to mess this up. She'll correct me later. 16, 17 years, something like that. And she's amazing. And James, another advisor, came over from the firm I was at before, and he's awesome. And we just got a new person on staff, Storm. What an awesome name, right?
That's such a
Storm.
cool name. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that show, American Gladiators. I think it was in the 90s. There was a woman named Storm. So we tease him about that. That's fun.
I was thinking the X-Men.
Got a girl's
I
name.
think there's Storm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old, so I know American Gladiators, but yeah, so got a good team. But the other thing that we've been spending a lot of time on, I just hired an internal IT person, and we use Salesforce, and we're building that out, spending a lot of time and a good amount of money, but being able to have all these processes just set in place so that when we're doing an Encore estate plan, it's just clicking through our normal process. And somebody like Storm, who hasn't been here that long, can jump in and understands what needs to be done without a lot of training. So anyway.
Are those workflows you're developing within the CRM, within Salesforce, then that every step kicks off the next step in the number of days to repopulate? Maybe talk about that, because I think that's really helpful for advisors thinking about this, of how do I set up the process to be able to do something like estate planning and do it efficiently.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we have a workflow, and because I have a great team, Jessica is the one that created this. So I have a developer who created the kind of the structure to build these automation templates, as what they're called. And so, but it's really cool. Because I've got a good team, Jessica just created it. You know, she was doing it anyway. And yeah, you know, one step clicks off and the next one goes. And sometimes we have 3 things happening at the same time that we can do. But then when those 3 are done, then 2 others come up, or and we just click through the whole process like that.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's keep talking about your software stack for a little bit, because a lot of advisors ask us how to use their softwares in accordance with Encore. I understand you're using FP Pathfinder. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How are you using FP with Encore at this time?
Honestly, I'm not. I
That's a great answer.
I should probably be doing a better job. I've been a little busy with all the things that I've been doing recently, and FP Pathfinder has kind of gotten put on the
No
back
worries.
burner a little bit. We a lot of their stuff we put on our website. We have the PDF versions of it, and so we can point to clients to it and reference different checklists and things like that. But we
Yeah.
haven't really used it a whole lot for the Encore estate process.
Because you
Because
just go on,
I
Matt.
just think what they're doing. That's why we asked this question. We're actually in talks with them. I'm a big fan of what they do, and with Michael there about how we can kind of build some things together that would help that experience, help you tie those things in together. So, but you've bought a tax practice and you've been implementing that, and so maybe that isn't the thing you've focused on lately, but we're focused on it. Of how do we help bridge the best of what they do with what we do, and
Yeah.
so it's one of those areas I'm curious about.
Yeah, I really think they're doing cool things over there too. Just it's so hard. I mean, because they help with these processes too, and so
Yep.
we can use some of that and then formalize it in our system with the workflows we have in Salesforce and stuff like that. But there's so much to know, and then when you start trying to get into these other areas like tax preparation and estate planning. Becomes overwhelming to try to stay on top of all those things. You just can't. So having resources like FP Pathfinder and you guys is a huge asset.
Yeah.
I'm
So you've
curious.
acquired.
Have I'm sorry, Harry, I'll step on you
That's
there,
okay.
but have you ever had a client that procrastinated on getting their estate planning?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's why I got so excited about Encore when it came out that you guys were going to be doing this. So here's the thing: I have 190-ish households, something like that.
That's good.
And like you said, over 50 estate plans with Encore in just a couple of years. And probably all 50 of those were people that I've been beating over the head for for multiple years. Talk to this estate attorney. Here's a card. Let's schedule an appointment with them. Over and over. Sorry, sister. My sister Carissa, I'm going to throw under the bus. So, but I talked with her about this year after year after year, and she lives in California, so I'm like, you better get a trust, Carissa. You don't mess around with California law and get an attorney. I mean, for years. And she drug her feet. And my sister's a genius. She got a perfect score on the math test on the ACTs, and I'm jealous of her. So I need to knock her every once in a while because I'm so jealous. But anyways, so she but she's very typical to other clients where life just gets busy. You going to an attorney requires and picking an attorney, it takes a lot of energy because this is a new relationship, that you have to have a very high level of trust for. And that takes a lot of energy, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to find that person. And so being able to say, hopefully my clients trust me. That's why they're here, to say, yeah, we already have formed this trusted relationship. We don't have to go out and find another one. And we can get this done in such a quick and simple way. That's why I think I've gotten so many plans done in a relatively short period of time, is because of all the procrastination. We've just made it so easy for people.
So what is that conversation? So they've been putting it off for years, and now you step in and say, hey, I have a solution. How do you articulate this to a client? You're not an attorney. You can't provide legal advice and practice law. And so maybe talk about the expectation setting that's appropriate there, how you help them understand your role in working with them on getting their plan in place, where you can't, with the lines you can't cross. Talk through how you maybe set that expectation, or talk through what you do.
Yeah, oftentimes I kind of talk to them about what their options are. We're not the only option, and I say,
yeah,
you can go online, do your own if you want. I don't recommend it. It's I've seen lots of bad outcomes from that. And I tell, usually most of my clients are pretty smart people, and I know you're smart, but you don't speak the language, and so it's very tricky. Sometimes what you think is in your head of what would make sense is not what is going to get interpreted by a judge or an attorney or something like that. So yeah, you could do it on your own. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is go to an attorney. And we have great relationships with attorneys in town that we've had for years. And we can give you a referral to them, and we know you're going to get great estate documents. But they're probably going to charge twice as much as us. So you can kind of go in the in-between where you work with us. We can't give you legal advice. You don't have an attorney, but you're working with somebody that you know, and we're working with a team, Encore Estate, that national estate planning company that this is all they do, and they're very good at it. So we'll help you, guide you whichever one of those three paths you choose. We'll work with the attorney in town and give you a referral if you need to, but and a lot of people just love the idea of one-stop shop, right? And not having to have all the multiple trusted relationships. So
yeah. I have a few questions around that. First things first, you mentioned that you are having these hard conversations with clients. First question is, how do you navigate those conversations without giving legal advice? And the second question is going to be, you said you're charging your clients half of what the attorneys are charging in the area. How much are you charging, and how do you charge? So you said a few questions. Yeah.
No, that's fine. So sorry, wait, what was the first question?
The first question is, how do you navigate the conversation without giving legal advice?
Yeah, so Encore Estate you guys have great little help fields within the software, and so we use those quite a bit. So James on my team, you're talking to me, but I don't actually do a lot of this with clients. James is the one that's talking with people about this, and he's walking through, and we have a big screen in our office, and the client's sitting there, so we pull it up, the software, Encore Estate software, and we're going through it with them. We're just helping them answer the questions, and those help. Those, I don't know what you call it, but the
tooltips. Yeah.
Tooltips. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very helpful and it gives them guidance, and being able to say what's common with other clients like you is this. You can do whatever you want, but this is a pretty common way of doing it, and here's why. And so speaking in that way without
education.
Education instead of advice.
Yeah. Now, how do you mentioned you're charging about half of what local attorneys are charging. If you may ask, how much are you charging, and how do you have that set up at the moment?
Yeah, so we charge $1,000 if people are just going to do the powers of attorney will package, and then we charge $3,000 if they're doing a trust. And I talked to them about that. Some people, have talked to attorneys, and so don't have to talk very long about this because the attorneys we refer to is typically, about $6,000 or something like that for trust-based plan. Well, if it's funded, and we talk to clients about the importance of that. It's kind of a worthless piece of paper if you don't fund it.
It is.
And so we charge $3,000, and we help them fund it. So we help them with their bank accounts. Jessica, who I was talking about, she helps them communicate with the bank, and we might have life insurance policies, so we help them with that, and of course their brokerage accounts, IRAs, and
Right.
things like that. 401ks will help them, and a lot of times ideally we have this policy in our office, do for, do with, equip, which is if at all possible, we want to do it for the client.
Yeah.
Reduce the stress is the whole
Yep.
point of what we're doing, right? So if we can do it for them, we'll do it. If we can't, we'll do it with them. So we can't do the funding at the bank with them, but we can be on the phone with them.
Yeah.
Or we can't do it for them, but we can
Sure.
be on the phone with them. And so the accounts that we have with the custodian, we can kind of do for that, do most of it. They're signing the last bit. And then, do for, do with, and then if we can't do either of those first two, then we'd equip them to be able to do it themselves.
Perfect.
So that deed part must be important then also, if it's a trust-based estate plan, getting that deed filed, which, is something that is a struggle that hopefully we're helping to solve for you as well.
Yes, it's a really big thing. One of the big pieces of the funding process is getting that deed, obviously. And that's, I love that, because we don't have to do anything. You guys you just do it, and it happens. So.
We take on the do for
Yes.
in that capacity, because they won't do even with the best intentions of here's the instructions, which some attorneys do that, but a huge percentage of plans wind up unfunded by property that needs to go through that process. So we're thrilled to come through for you. We'll do the do for in that instance where
Well, I
we
appreciate
where
it.
we can help out. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's a pain in many locations. It is not easy to pull off, and so it's a lot of work, but it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, dealing with governmental entities is always a challenge, and there's red tape, and you just don't know where to start, and you get the wrong answer, and then you have to go back, and it's just, oh man. And I'm trying to remember, I think you guys charge $250. Is that
$250 to $550, depending on the locations. No more than $550. Yeah.
And I mean, that is so worth it to save the hassle of that. And so but just from a pricing perspective, going back to that, so if the $3,000 we say covers one deed, and then if if they have multiple properties, then we just tack on, we just pass through the price to them. So.
Yeah. About how many clients would you say have come in with a unfunded trust to you?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I haven't really kept good track, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's really sad, and oftentimes people are paying a good chunk of money. And then you tell them, well, is your bank account in the name of the trust? What about your brokerage account? Like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and how do you break that to them? Like, sometimes they're so excited, like, yeah, we did this, we spent all this money, it was, we did this really great thing, and I'm like, but it's not doing anything, I mean, maybe you have a pour over will, but it's still it's going to be a pain in the rear, so it's a major issue. And that's why even if we are working with local attorneys, we really like to work with attorneys that are going to do the funding, because it just doesn't make sense to have a stack of papers that's not doing anything.
Are you doing much in the way of reviewing the client's existing plans? Is that work you guys are taking on as a team to read through those documents and do that work? How do you think about that?
No, we just let you guys do that. So.
Okay. Hopefully we've been helpful to you in that realm.
Yeah, that's been great, to be able to just upload those documents, and to be able to have you guys bring back a summary is super helpful, really helpful for the clients to be able to um, know what they wrote down
Yep.
because they
Yep.
don't usually know.
Yep.
um,
Well, exciting here. I'll announce this here is one of our newest features that you don't even know about yet is the ability to, if we've ingested that plan and you're on our subscription plan, we are now going to digitize that client's existing estate plan into our software. So we have all those inputs. And so if you review it with the client and they recognize that, oh, geesh, we have somebody named as a successor trustee, we want to make that change. Going forward under our subscription model, you're going to be able to press a button to say restate this plan, and our questionnaire is going to fill out with all the plan's existing information, and you're just going to need to go edit the fields that they want to make the changes to. And so how cool will that be when you can solve for that the recognition that that old document's out of date, and in one sitting you can fix it.
Yeah, so a little birdie told me that that might be coming. So I was talking with James about this, and we were pretty stoked because now it allows us to be able to help even more clients, right? Because there are some clients that they had their estate documents updated recently and they're perfectly fine. We don't need to do anything with them. But if we could just have it sitting there,
Yep.
ready to go,
Yep.
and a life event happens, and we
Yep.
say, okay, let's get that updated, and within a couple of clicks, we can do that.
Mm.
Oh man, that's powerful.
Yeah,
So.
great point that even if it's not a today decision, they're happy with what they have in their existing document. It's now digitized. And maybe it's 3 years from now that life event happens or that relationship changes or they inherit money and now they're thinking differently about charity or other things. And boom, it's all teed up to say, while we're here redoing the plan, in light of that information, let's bring up estate planning, quick fix to the questionnaire, update to the questionnaire, and that
Yep.
can be done too. And so we think that's game changing to the client experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. And we've talked about this a little bit, but the relationship that we have as advisors, there's so many more touch points that we typically have than an attorney would, right?
Yeah.
And so we're asking our clients regularly what life events have happened, and we have a checklist that we give our clients. And so we're hearing those things, and that triggers in our head, oh, maybe we need to change beneficiaries. Maybe we need to,
Yep.
and before it was, well, we'll change the beneficiaries on the IRA,
Mm-hmm.
but now it goes beyond that, and it's more comprehensive for the client. And if we weren't there to be helping with that and then to update those documents, would that have happened? Probably not. And
Yeah.
could they have passed away and their estate plan not be set the way they wanted to? Good chance. So
Yeah.
there's so many things can fall through the cracks without a relationship. And that's
Yep.
the huge advantage we have, is we have a relationship, an ongoing relationship.
That's a soundbite right there. So many things can fall
Yeah.
through the cracks without a relationship. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. One of our last questions, we're coming up on time, that I'm always curious. I think I might know the answer in your case. We talked about it a little bit, but how would you see, here's my question for you, the future of financial services and the client experience, the relationship with the advisor. How do you see it changing in the next 5 years, and the impact that where you think the future of advice and how it's changing? We've seen it change a lot in the last decade. What do you think happens in the next 5 to 10 years?
I love this profession. I'm really passionate about it. I love getting up every day and going to work. And my kids, I've got 4 kids, and I don't know if they quite understand, like, why does dad like work so much? Like, he actually enjoys, like, I don't like going to school, but I really love what I do because I feel like it's so impactful. And I think over the next 5 years, we're going to be advisors are going to be able to have a greater and greater impact, because we're going to be able to impact them in all these different ways. Like I said, because I bought the accounting firm, and we were already doing financial planning and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
then with the estate documents with Encore, and that's just going to grow and develop, and we're going to be able to do more and more and more of those things. I mean, I really think this might be a harder thing to implement, but what if advisors could help with not just life insurance, because we do that, but what about home property, car, auto, and homeowners insurance? And again, putting together more of those pieces of the puzzle. I talk about with clients, I say, what I want you to do is tell me what you envision your life being over the next several years. Tell me this picture, create this picture for me. And then it's my job to take all the pieces of this jigsaw puzzle and form it to what you want. And I see advisors becoming much more generalists as
Yeah.
time goes on, and working with specialists like Encore and stuff like that, because as generalists, again, it's back to the relationship. We have the relationship, and we have enough understanding of all those different areas to be able to know where to go and what questions to ask, and then to what specialist to go to. And our clients are not going to be able to put all those pieces, that big jigsaw puzzle, together to form the picture that they want, as well as somebody that is a professional, is doing this day in and day out. So.
That's awesome. And having that back office team that's there when you need it in a client set of circumstances that you can go to. That's what we're trying to provide, in the estate planning space, that you do have humans you can go to when you have those needs, but you're the generalist across these areas. And for straightforward issues, you're able to drive deeper value across more aspects. I see the same thing. And so excited for advisors like you that prioritize it all the way into buying a tax practice. And so maybe if we can talk in the future, I'd love to dig in, and maybe we do a future podcast, because I'm sure there's a lot of learnings you have there that a lot of other advisors have questions for you on. We find we work with a lot of advisors that prioritize tax planning, and you've gone to the next level to invest in for a firm of 4 advisors and to integrate a practice. I'm sure there are thousands of advisors that would love to hear more on that. And so maybe that's a conversation podcast to have in general, because you probably learned a lot in the last year. And so congrats on getting that done and getting through your first tax season.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that concludes this episode of the Advisor's Guide to Estate Planning podcast. Joel, it has been a pleasure to host you, and we will talk to you all next time.
Thanks.